Hi, I'm Sue Tonks, and welcome again to finding out a little bit more about how you can become a more effective and confident networker in all sorts of business and social situations. Today we're going to carry on a theme that many women find very difficult, which is the male-orientated business networking events and the gender differences between men and women when they go to these events. And in one of the earlier sessions, I said that, really we can't change the men. We need really to adapt what we do to get the best of those situations, but still maintain our femininity and our difference as a species. Because we have all the skills to become effective networkers. We really connect with people very quickly. We build really, really good relationships, far better relationships in the early days than men. But we really sometimes struggle to take those relationships further on in a business setting. Men really don't have that problem. They will go in with a determined effort to meet somebody to do business with, and they will just carry on regardless. And that's a little bit difficult sometimes for us women to take. So we're going to look today at some new ideas to help you deal with those tricky male-orientated situations and even some of those tricky situations with other women. One of the things that people struggle with in a business setting is the right amount of small talk. Now, some people say, I hate that small talk. I ask why. They say, well, it's inane, it's the same thing, it's insincere, people know you're doing it, but you really don't mean it. If you think any of those things, then that small talk will, how it appears, will be on your face, in your tone, your body language. Remember, small talk equals big business. If you're going to do the big business, we have to get through the small talk first, because the small talk is about the fundamental principles of building relationships, and networking is about building relationships. So we need to get through the small talk. And actually, women are really, really good with the small talk. We can build relationships up very, very quickly, get into conversations. But the problem is sometimes those conversations go nowhere. One of the things that everybody likes to talk about is themselves. And so if you can just talk about the other person and their interests, then they're more likely to have that conversation, and at least they think it's going somewhere because it's all about them. I remember many years ago reading a book. It was written in 1936. It was called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And that book had a profound effect on me, because I realised that relationships were really, really important in all aspects of business, family and social situations. And one of the things that Carnegie says was, always talk about the other person. That's the important thing for them. So if we do this and we go into small talk, then providing we're talking about the other person and their interests, they will always be interested to talk about things to us. And that conversation can lead to all sorts of different situations and spot many opportunities. One of the things we need to remember, though, is this, that while we're talking to somebody, we need to be interested rather than appear interesting. Because if I'm being interesting, I'm on my own agenda. I'm talking about the things that I want you to know about me. If I'm being interested, I am on the other person's agenda. And I will learn far more and spot more opportunities by being interested than I will ever learn by being interesting. Now, women tend to find a little bit of a problem with this, because if we're talking to somebody and we find out something about them that we also know about, then we'll end up taking the conversation back to us. It goes something like this. Oh, so where did you go on your last holiday? Oh, I went over to Spain. Oh, how did you? I went to Spain about 3 years ago. Oh, it was fabulous. The little villas and the villages and the cities. And all of a sudden, you've left that person deserted in Spain while you're telling them all about you, all about your holiday. If you do that 2 or 3 times in a conversation, they're going to be losing interest in you all the time. And we call this technique that sometimes we do hijacking, because as we hijack a situation, we bring it back to us. So what are you doing at the weekend? Oh, I'm off to the cinema. Oh, are you? Oh, I went to the cinema last week. I went to see that new fabulous... And all of a sudden, that focus is back on you again. And so it's very important that as we build relationships with people, we become interested. Then, while we're interested, they're talking to us, they're thinking we're interesting. It's a very strange way that if somebody's interested in you, you think they're interesting. What an interesting person. So one of the things is to make sure that we're asking good, open questions and we're taking that conversation further on. Oh, where did you go in Spain? All right, so what did you like about it? So we're moving with that conversation and we're leading that person into different areas of that communication. What we need to also remember is that while we are asking the right questions, we're doing a really good job of listening and showing full body listening, attentive, taking the information, because you never know when you're going to pick up what we call an aha moment. An aha moment is a business opportunity or an opportunity to take a conversation or that relationship to the next level. Aha, now there's somebody that knows. Aha, there's an opportunity. Aha, I can see potential here. So when we're actually asking questions and listening, we've got more of a chance to pick up the signals from the person to move that relationship into a more business setting. This is important because we need to realise when these opportunities come to us in a conversation to move it on. One of the other difficulties we have as women in business settings is sometimes that we don't feel we know enough about somebody else's business, and therefore we ask 1 or 2 questions. We're not quite sure what they're talking about, so we try and change the subject back to something that we feel more comfortable with. You need to get used to asking good business questions. And for women, that should be great because we're really interested in other people. We should find out. So how many people work in your organisation? What sort of things do you do? One of the things that always stump us a little bit is if somebody talks to us about something we have no idea whatsoever. You know, men and women deal differently in that situation. For instance, I was listening to a conversation a little while ago where 2 people were talking and one said, so what do you do? And the other person said, oh, we make manifolds for the automotive industry. There was a bit of a pause. Now, a man, more likely than not, wouldn't want anybody to know that he really wasn't sure what a manifold for the automotive industry was. So they would say, as he did in this particular case, all right, so how's manifold manufacturing going at the moment in this climate? It was obvious that that guy had no idea what the other fellow was talking about, but didn't have the confidence to ask the question. Now, for a woman, hearing the same conversation, we make manifolds for the automotive industry, might not even want to ask the question, what's a manifold, for the sheer fact that they wouldn't want anybody to know that they had no idea. Well, whether you know or you don't, if you're interested, you would always ask. So I'd say if somebody says something to you about part of their business or organisation, you had no idea what it was, just be interested. Ask the question. Do you mind me asking you? I'm really not sure, but what's a manifold? What would you do with them? And then the person will be able to explain. They're the expert, they're talking about the thing that interests them, and they will explain it to you. Then if nothing else, you'll have learnt something new. So never be afraid to ask the questions, because if you're asking questions, it shows you're interested. The thing is to keep asking questions and find out more about that person's business in a really interested way. Remember, full body language, full body listening. All right, so how did you start the business? What got you involved in that field of work? All sorts of questions like that will show that you're interested. And I will say, if you're struggling on business related questions, always go back to that past question. So what got you into that line of business? How did you start off like that? What got you started in your organisation? Why did you decide to take that route? Once you ask any of those questions, the past questions, you'll find that the person will talk for at least another 2 or 3 minutes all about themselves, and you can just listen for those opportunities. You never know when a business opportunity is going to come out of a conversation, so always stay interested. Now, when we spot that business opportunity, again there is a gender issue on how we deal with it. If a man spots an opportunity, he's more likely to grab hold of that opportunity where it is and zoom straight in. So he'll start to ask a lot more specific, detailed questions like, so how many have you got, and where did you buy it from, and who supplies you at the moment, how much do you pay for them, blah, 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 blah. And they will carry on asking loads and loads of questions, and the person on the other side will feel sold to, because suddenly the demeanor's changed and now the person's moving in. And in those situations, if you listen very, very carefully, very, very carefully, you can even hear the theme tune to Jaws. Do, 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 as they move in for the kill. Now a woman might not have even spotted the opportunity because we're still so busy being interested about the person. Sometimes those opportunities pass us by. But if we spot the opportunity, rather than deal with it the man way, we need to look at it the right way. And here's a tip. So if you spot an opportunity to do business with somebody, rather than move straight into that business opportunity, grab hold of it and pop it away for a little while. It won't escape. Leave it. Go back to some more general questions about the person, about the business. And I always suggest that if you think that you're going to make contact with this person again, find out what they're doing at the weekend. That's a really good link later on to making that follow-up call. And just before you're ready to leave the person, go back to that opportunity, bring it back in to the conversation. Really as an aside, earlier you were talking about changing premises because you'd outgrown the property that you're already in and you're looking for something a lot bigger. Well, one of the things that we help businesses to do is actually find the right premises to suit that particular business opportunity. So I wondered if it'd be worth our while having a chat about it a bit further to see if there's anything we can do to help you. Simple, isn't it? You grab hold of the aha moment and you bring it back into the conversation. The reason why there's a delay on that shows that you've actually taken that opportunity and you've given it some thought, some consideration, rather than zooming straight in. This approach is far more effective for women because they don't feel as pushy and as single-minded in many situations. So let me just run with you again with that. You grab the opportunity, you pop it away, and later on in the conversation you bring it back out just before you're ready to leave that person. Earlier you were talking about the difficulties you have sometimes when you go networking and you find it very difficult to break into conversations. Well, one of the things that we help people to do is feel a little bit more confident whenever they go into networking situations by understanding some hints and tips and ways forward. I wonder if there's a chance that we could chat about it a little bit more, perhaps in the next couple of days, and see if there's anything we can do to help each other. It's chat and help, not meet and sell. In that way, we can still stay true to ourselves and at the same time become a lot more confident with those business getting opportunities. For more hints and tips, I'll see you again soon. Thank you.